What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to something a bit different than what you're used to getting from this channel. Today I want to talk to you about why you shouldn't really base your car buying decisions on car reviews alone. I'm gonna tell you a bit about the special treatment that journalists get on press drives. And finally I'm gonna show you some of the tricks manufacturers use to get you into their showrooms to buy their cars. Even though my channel is quite small, I do get a lot of questions about car buying advice here or on Instagram. And most often I tend to respond to those people, and the most frequent reply I get is this. That reviewer I follow on YouTube said the car is great, but you're saying the car is great only if X, Y, and Z happened. Case in point, the new BMW iX. I was, to be honest, making fun of the way that car looks and how stupidly expensive it is. But a lot of people quickly pointed out the fact that every reviewer that drove that car said it's amazing and the interior is fantastic and so on. And I'm not saying it's not, but people need to understand something. Those journalists that reviewed the new BMW iX were handpicked by BMW and invited to Germany to test that car. All expenses paid. They flew there probably first class, they stayed in a fancy hotel, and they got to drive that car on some really beautiful roads for a few hours. Now, of course, every single manufacturer does that, but I'm referring specifically to the BMW iX because that's the car I got the most messages about. Like I've said, I was poking fun at the looks of the car and I was talking about the price on Instagram, and a lot of folks were quick to point out that every single reviewer that drove that car in Germany only had positive things to say about the car. Another very important aspect of these press trips is that journalists get to drive fully loaded cars. Literally every single option the manufacturer can fit onto that car, they will do it, especially on these press drives. That, plus the fact that you have to share the car with another journalist and you only get to drive it for a few hours, makes it really difficult to properly assess that car and, frankly, to find faults with. And I think it's quite tricky to remain objective in a scenario like I've just described, which is basically an all expenses paid trip to a 5-star location. But beside all of that, like I was saying earlier, the cars that the press get to drive on press trips like this one are fully loaded vehicles. Let me show you how they look like. These are some of the cars the press drove there. They're X-Drive 5.0 models because apparently the base car wasn't ready. Make of it what you will. Wanna know how much these cars cost? Well, they're around 130,000 euros. That's $150K dollars for you American guys. And I've yet to see pictures anywhere online with the base version, which is the car that most people will end up buying and speccing with a couple of options. Let me show you how that one looks like. It's a big difference, isn't it? Now, let me ask you the following. Would you feel differently when driving a car like this one compared to one like this? Would you? I've seen a couple of reviews that flat out said that they only drove the car for around 200 kilometers, and based on that fact alone, they decided to conclude that BMW's claimed autonomy figures are definitely doable. Well, I'm sorry, but until you've driven the car from 100% charge down to 10% and then analyze those numbers, you can't really say what's doable or not. I'll be honest, I've been part of a couple of press trips before, and basically they fly you in to a very nice location where you have breakfast in the airport lounge, and then the cars are ready for you to hit the road. But mind you, they are predetermined routes. Fantastic, but they are predetermined. What does that mean? Basically, the manufacturer goes to that place a month before and then decides which roads are the best for you to drive the car in. And along those roads, you stop at some very nice restaurants to have lunch, and usually the day ends with you sleeping in a 5-star hotel. I dare you to properly assess a car in a scenario like that and remain 100% objective. And you know, that's one of the reasons why I stopped going on press trips. I want to fully experience the car I'm driving because I do love driving, and only a couple of hours of driving on predetermined routes just doesn't do it for me. Remember that manual 992 Carrera S I drove a few months ago? That car costs over 180,000 euros and it was fully loaded, including some of the most exclusive options from Porsche's custom manufacturing program. And I assure you, it's quite impossible to not be impressed by a car like that, even if you're the most objective journalist out there. I was lucky enough to be able to drive that car for around 3 days. But what about for people who get to drive that for 2 hours? How can you make a review in that situation? And in a nutshell, these are the reasons why I think you shouldn't base your car buying decisions on car reviews alone. Now let's move on and talk about some of the tricks manufacturers use to get you into their showrooms and sell you cars. And then at the end of the video, I'm gonna tell you what I think should be the procedure you should follow when you're buying a new car. This is my soon-to-be replaced daily driver 2020 Audi A3 Sportback. It's decently equipped and it didn't really cost me too much to lease for 2 years. And you might also think this is a pretty nice car, but just have a look at how Audi advertises this particular vehicle. Notice the differences, except for the color, obviously. Let me just point them out to you real quick. First off, the advertised car has the fancy adaptive LED lights, the 18-inch alloys, roof racks, and the exterior S-Line package. My car has none of that. It features the standard LED headlights, 17-inch alloys, and it doesn't have roof racks or the S-Line package. But beside all of that, the picture is heavily edited, and I'm not talking about color or composition. No, this particular Ford over here has the alloys enlarged and the ride height lowered so that, well, it looks better. Just ask any professional photographer out there that deals with the automotive segment and they will confirm that that is the norm when taking commercial car photography. And quite a few people, after seeing that picture on a billboard and they pass by it on the highway, they simply go into the dealership and order that car, no questions asked, just because of the low lease price. You'd be amazed of the amount of people that actually do that. So how do you know who to trust when buying a car? Well, simply put, don't trust anyone other than yourself with your own money. And for the love of God, please stop buying cars exclusively based on what some random folk on the internet says. It's your hard-earned money and you better be very wise and buy the car you love. Remember, no manufacturers nowadays makes a bad car. It's all about what car you should get for your needs. So every time someone asks me for car buying advice, I tell them this: watch or read as many car reviews as you want. Make sure you get your information from various sources, not just one. Take into consideration what these people say, but at the end of the day, don't take their words as a definitive conclusion. Do all the research you want beforehand, but before making a decision, go and drive the car yourself and see how it makes you feel. And you should tell your dealer to provide you with the test car that's very closely spec'd to what you're about to buy and has the same trim level. I can't stress how important this fact is. So there you go, folks. This has been my Sunday rant, basically. But let me know in the comment section down below, what's your strategy when buying a new car? Maybe it will help other people when they're deciding. But that's been it for today, my friends. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and make sure you're subscribed for plenty more videos to come.